One of the more interesting facets of Pokémon is that there are actually a bunch of Pokémon whose designs have changed after they were officially revealed and released in their respective games. It's not something you would imagine actually happening, and most of the time it's subtle, but it's happened, and it's happened a pretty good amount. Which is why today we're going to be looking at 50 Pokémon whose designs were changed after they were officially released. Before we do that though, I've got to give a thank you as well as share a quick message from the sponsor of today's video, Moorpark College. One thing you're going to notice about this group of Pokémon is that many of them are earlier Gen 1 and Gen 2 Pokémon. This has to do with the fact that for the first couple generations, Pokémon were designed by creating their sprites first, and then drawing their artwork afterwards. This resulted in many Pokémon receiving small tweaks to their designs after their debut games had already been released, and that's how we ended up with the designs we know and love today. For example, this occurs in Pokémon like Charmander, Mew, Vaporeon, and Lapras. Charmander used to have some small back spikes back in the day that it no longer has. Mew was a lot more ugly and fetusy looking, for lack of a better term. Lapras used to have teeth, and Vaporeon used to have a couple extra fins on its legs. More Pokémon like this include Kakuna, Pikachu, and Koffing. Kakuna used to have arms, Pikachu famously got a lot less chonky, and Koffing used to have its skull and crossbones pattern on its forehead as opposed to its chest. Then there's a small group of Pokémon who have gained or lost fingers over the years. Haunter, Poliwhirl, and Mr. Mime in their original designs all had a different amount of fingers when they first debuted than they do now. Haunter used to have 4 fingers and now has 3, Poliwhirl lost all of its fingers except for its thumb as its hands were changed to be more mitten-like, and Mr. Mime gained a finger, now having 5 instead of 4 like it used to. Other Kanto Pokémon with design changes also include Moltres, Jynx, Wigglytuff, Caterpie, and Onix. Jynx's change has been well documented as its face color was changed to avoid being accused of being a depiction of blackface. Moltres and Wigglytuff, meanwhile, were more or less just polished up, with Moltres being given a major facelift and Wigglytuff's chest pattern being changed. Meanwhile, Caterpie and Onix's bodies were changed, as Caterpie temporarily had a 3rd set of feet that it no longer does, and Onix had a longer body, being a couple sections longer than it is now. How about we change gears a little and talk about some JoJo Pokémon now? Sneasel, Raikou, Blossom, and Chikorita, for instance, all received updates to their designs after being released. Sneasel, Blossom, and Chikorita all received color changes, as you can see here, with Blossom's being the most notable, as its color was changed in order to avoid racial controversy. Raikou, meanwhile, looks significantly different now than it did during the days of Gen 2, as its face and head area was altered significantly coming off the way it appeared in Gold and Silver. Other Johto Pokemon with changes include Skarmory, Meganium, Croconaw, and Feraligatr. Skarmory, Croconaw, and Feraligatr all received color updates, with Skarmory's tail also being slightly different in Gold and Silver than it is now. Meganium, meanwhile, while retaining its original colors, had its flower altered from the way it appeared in Gold and Silver. Next, let's talk about shiny changes. Surprisingly, there have been a lot of Pokemon who have had their shiny colorations altered over the years, including Swinub, Spinarak, who actually had its regular colors changed too, Remoraid, Porygon, Ponyta, Rapidash, my boy Cyndaquil and his family, Smeargle, who also had its standard colors changed, Oddish, Combusken, and Charizard. In fact, Swinub had its shiny changed twice across 3 generations, going from blue in Gen 2 to gray in Gen 3, and then finally green in Gen 4. And Combusken's shiny was also recently changed a second time as well, reverting to its original shiny form in Sword and Shield that was actually changed after Gen 3. Other recent changes include the fact that in Pokemon Home, Cast forms have finally been given shiny forms of their own, which they didn't have before, and Minior's individual forms have also been given distinct shinies as well, as opposed to sharing one shiny between all of them. As these new shinies have only just debuted in Pokemon Home, hopefully they will make the transition to the games soon. Wrapping back around to Gen 1, more Kanto Pokemon with design changes include Cloyster, Ghastly, Venusaur, Venomoth, and Nidoqueen. Cloyster actually had a gem in its head at one point that it no longer does, Ghastly was much more gas and a lot less body originally, Venomoth and Nidoqueen were given small body and pattern changes, and Venusaur's body color was changed from a blue color to more of a green color. In fact, Bulbasaur and Ivysaur were also tweaked as well, as Bulbasaur's color was also changed from blue to green, and Ivysaur's bulb looked slightly different. Even more Kanto Pokemon with changes include Pidgeot, Gyarados, Dratini, Lickitung, and Golbat. Pidgeot's tail has been changed multiple times, first with not having a tail at all, then having its tail color changed from red and yellow to being entirely red. Meanwhile, Gyarados, Lickitung, and Dratini's chest patterns all have changed slightly over the years, and Golbat effectively lost its tongue. It technically could still be in there somewhere, but it was definitely way more important to its design back in the day than it is now. And to round out this video, we have Steelix and Salamence. We previously touched on Steelix's pre-evolution, Onix, and its design also being changed, but Steelix in particular had its design altered in much the same way Onix did. From Gens 2 to 3, Steelix's body was shortened slightly, with its body originally consisting of 11 segmented pieces in Gold version, 13 in Silver, to only 9 in Generation 3 and onwards. Meanwhile, Salamence's appearance has changed multiple times in the games. In the Gen 3 titles, its color wasn't really all that close to how its artwork was depicted. So in Gen 4, its body color was fixed, but its wing and accent colors were still off compared to its artwork, being more orange than red. It wasn't until Gen 5 when Salamence's in-game colors were finally nailed down and made consistent with its official artwork, and luckily, it's been that way ever since. So those were 50 Pokemon who had their designs changed after release. Which one of these changes interests you the most? Let me know in the comments below, and subscribe if you're new for more Pokemon content all the time. You can also support the channel further by listening to my Pokemon remixes on Spotify, and by watching my Pokemon Cardinal series here on YouTube, both of which are massively appreciated and help out a ton. With that said, I will see you all soon with another video, and until then, as always, I love you all, and I will smell you guys later.